Hey friends, this is Jordan with O&Co Games. We're a very small team working on what I hope will be your next favorite precision platformer. The game is called Tethergeist, and people seem to really like it as we've showcased it at places like PAX West, Next Fest, The Mix, and my local farmers market. All of these pretty important folks have had great things to say about it as well, and if you're into 2D platformers, I think there's a good chance you'll like it. The demo is on Steam, and you can use the link below to go test it out and wishlist it if you're interested. So as many of you know, Tethergeist started as a game jam game made in 48 hours for the GMTK Game Jam in 2021. It ranked 10th in the popular vote out of nearly 6,000 entries, and it was then that our little team of 3 decided to pursue the idea further into a feature-length, commercially viable game. We've been working on it for nearly 4 years now, and it's really evolved into something we're pretty darn proud of. However, that is 4 years on, well, a 2D platformer, so naturally we've had a looming fear that Tethergeist might not do so well as a game in what many people consider to be an oversaturated genre. We often hear people say, well, your game looks nice, but it's just another 2D platformer, and everybody makes those. And there is merit to that argument. According to Gamealytic, there are over 8,000 games on Steam tagged as 2D platformers, which is around 8% of all games on Steam. That really is a lot. And only 1.2% of them have grossed over $1 million, so at a glance it seems like a bad bet to make a game in this genre. We'll commonly ask ourselves as a team, do we really think Tethergeist can be in the top 1.2% of 2D platformers? What's interesting about this line of thinking though is that despite 2D platformers being a common genre, there really hasn't been a precision platformer like Celeste since, well, Celeste. And precision platformers in general since then have been pretty scarce, yet still successful when they're designed right. It's a little baffling, isn't it? Celeste came out over 8 years ago and proved that despite precision platformers appealing to a niche audience, that audience is big enough for pretty good chances at success. So let's go back to Gamealytic and dig into the data just a bit more. Yes, Tethergeist is a 2D platformer, but what kind of 2D platformer is it? Well, first off, let's filter out all of the games worth less than $15. We feel pretty strongly that Tethergeist is a relatively premium game, at least as far as pixel platformers are concerned. I mean, by my really safe estimates, we've poured well over 8,000 hours into it. So pricing it in the $15 to $20 range, similar to Celeste and Super Meat Boy, feels appropriate. So we'll go with the lower end of that range and filter these charts to 2D platformers selling for $15 or more. And just to be clear, this is $15 as the base price. The estimates in these charts account for promotions and sales. Anyway, even just that filter alone really starts to make a dent in things. Only about 700 2D platformers exist in this category, which is still admittedly a lot of games, but now we're looking at 8.8% of them grossing over $1 million. But there's even more to look at here. Tethergeist is specifically a story-rich precision platformer. So if we apply those two tags, suddenly there's a very different story happening here. Only 16 games exist on Steam with these tags, and they aren't that many tags. Some people have called games in this category Celeste-likes, and as you can see here, there's just not that many of them. So honestly, Tethergeist is not in an oversaturated genre. And honestly, of the games that are in this category, 12.5% of them have grossed over 1 million on Steam. Gosh, 1 in 4 have grossed over 200,000. Now, to be fair, if you do the math, 12.5% of 16 is just 2 games, and obviously Celeste is one of them. But that comes back to my point from the beginning, that we really haven't seen a precision platformer like Celeste since it came out. So where is the next Celeste? Well, that's what Tethergeist is aiming to be. The other common question we run into is why? Why hasn't another developer made a story-rich precision platformer? Yes, it's kind of niche, but it's also a broad enough category to make something totally unique and innovative within the space. Tethergeist follows similar design principles to Celeste, but the movement systems are totally different, the story is uniquely its own, and the fantasy world and art style have basically nothing to do with anything found in Celeste. So why hasn't anyone else attempted to make a Celeste-like? Well, I think it's because it's actually really hard to make a Celeste-like. Sure, it's easy to make a 2D platformer, but it's not easy to make it feel ultra responsive, to make it challenging but fair, to make levels that are just hard enough to be satisfying to complete, but not so hard that they're totally overwhelming, confusing, or frustrating for the player. It's hard to design game physics and build movement systems that are not only intuitive, but also fun and empowering. It's hard to make a visually stunning pixel game that also tells a heartfelt story that resonates with its player base. It's hard to spend the countless hours it takes to design levels, playtest them, and then delete and redesign those levels because the game didn't test as you initially hoped. And with all of that work in scope, it's hard to justify the time it's going to take to do it when you're worried you're just making another run-of-the-mill 2D platformer. It honestly just takes a genuine love and passion for this type of game to even consider making it in the first place. So, is Tethergeist the next Celeste? Honest answer, I really don't know. I can hope it is. We've heard time and time again from our playtesters and from experienced people in the game development industry that it certainly could be. And despite it being a 2D platformer, the numbers are actually pretty well in our favor. But still, there's really no knowing if all of this work will pay off financially, and that's something we have to be okay with. Ultimately, we're still going to make the best darn precision platformer we can make, and we hope that whoever plays it loves it as much as we do. So there's my spiel. If Tethergeist looks like a game you'd be interested in, we'd be honored to have you head over to Steam, play our demo, and drop us a wishlist. And of course, if you want to stay updated on our progress, feel free to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. We are getting closer and closer to completing this game, should be done this year, and we have some really exciting news to share very, very soon. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.